Welcome to Getting Unstuck with Wendy B. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I'm in a bit of the dark, but that's just the way it is for now. So I will just have to not resist it, because whatever we resist persists. So I thought I would talk about whatever we resist persists, because I found myself this morning being a little bit down or a little bit stressed, and then I just let it all go. And my experience in life is that if we resist that and don't deal with it, then it just gets worse. So I am Wendy Bergen. I am an author. I have a best-selling book called Getting Unstuck with Wendy B. And it's 30 ways to turn your limiting barriers into clarity, freedom, and power. I'm a podcaster. I have a podcast, Thriving at 60. I'm in 30 different countries, and I have over 27,000 followers. I also speak at different events. And so thank you for being here. That's a little about me. And let's just jump into it. So in my book, Getting Unstuck with Wendy Bergen, chapter 13 is Quit Resisting. And I start off with, did you know that whatever you resist persists? Choose to be okay with the way it is and the way it isn't, and miracles start happening. So I never, I start this story off with, when I was younger, I used to resist being like my dad. Has anybody here resisted being like their parent, or being like their auntie or someone in the family that they're reacting to? Well, I didn't want my dad's temper, and yet I had his temper. And the more I resisted being like him, the more I became like him. Rigid, opinionated, and with an unpredictable temper. So I never knew whether I was going to be a doormat or a pit bull. And people around me never knew that either. Maybe I didn't hit people like my father did, but I lashed out with nasty words. I complained, and I rarely appreciated anything or anybody. I had no patience. I was on the defense, waiting for you to attack me. I could find fault, so I could find fault first with you before you found fault with me. And once I got complete with my father, the way he was and the way he wasn't, then I could accept the way I was and the way I wasn't. I read books like Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner. I took therapy, and I got to the source of most of my anger. I chose to forgive both of my parents, particularly my father. His fullest expression of his love for me was being critical of my actions, always correcting me, no matter what I did. Being critical with me, he thought that would make me a better person. I don't believe my dad had healthy boundaries and healthy tools to live his life. Anger is how he expressed his love for almost everybody in his life. I ended up taking anger management courses, and I learned not to sweat the small stuff. I continue myself, even to this day, hire coaches and ask mentors to guide me, especially if I find myself getting angry. And I continue to take transformational courses. I'm either expanding in that area or I'm retracting. Like I said a few minutes ago, I either acted like a pit bull or a doormat. Have you ever noticed that you could do that too? With mentors and coaches, I practice with mentors and coaches and practice, because it takes practice. I rarely am any of those anymore. So, and it's interesting, when I stopped resisting my father's anger, he became less angry with me. And believe it or not, now that, before my father died, he died a couple of years ago in his 80s, but before he died, he actually told me he loved me and he was proud of me. And my father never used those words. Like, I'm in my 60s. And he never ever told me that until a couple of years before he passed away. I now focus on my great entrepreneurial skills that he taught me rather than the other stuff that didn't work. You know, I had a pretty troubled childhood with my father. He, used to use his work boots and fists and was sexually inappropriate with me. And I was able to let that all go and focus on what he did do. He taught me great entrepreneurial skills. He taught me to be a risk taker. He taught me to challenge the status quo, to be a leader, not a follower. So I need to thank my dad. Be the change you want to see in the world. So I'm inviting you to look at, where are you resisting life? Even in your everyday, like this morning, I was resisting, I was running late. I thought I was on time, then I realized I was late. And, if I resisted that, it would have just got worse. That's why I started the Facebook Live 15 minutes later than I originally was going to do it. Because I just surrendered, right? And then I was just calm. So I want you to write down 2 different things in your life you're resisting. Ask yourself, when you are resisting these things, what is it costing you emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially? And what is the payoff to resisting those areas? What don't you have to be responsible for? Who can you blame? Who can you shame or blame? And are you willing to give up resisting right now in those areas? And I invite you to look at what is one new action you could take to alter this. Write it down and do that within 24 hours. Thanks for playing with me and have a great Sunday afternoon. And remember, whatever we resist persists. And don't forget, you can get a complimentary gift free from me, my gift to you, a half-hour discovery session. Message me. Go to my Facebook page, wendybergen.com. Book a time with me, and we will together, I will look at, I'll give you one tip. This is my promise to you. I'll give you one tip that will move you forward if you follow the tip. So thank you. And don't forget, you can get my book on Amazon. It's in paperback and in digital. In paperback and digital on Amazon. And it's in digital on Tolino, Kobo, Apple, Barnes & Noble, Overdrive, and 24 Symbols. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk next week at 12 noon. Take care, because I care.
Good God.